Thank you for tuning in to another episode of What Are Those, the show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, you know what I'm going to say. This episode is brought to you by the On My Feet Network and the On My Feet app. And yeah, you need to go ahead and download that app. It's on Android, it's on iOS. Do it now. But I also want to encourage you guys to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's right, On My Feet on YouTube. Subscribe, man. You can check out this show and all of the cool shows. Shouts out to all of my fam that are part of the OMFnetwork, man. There's a lot of dope content on the network. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and follow us. Do all of those things, man. The OMFnetwork, we holds it down. Come join the movement. Okay, you know what time it is? It's time for the heat check. I got something special for you guys, man. A sneaker with some hype around it around the time it came out. Made by a pretty cool artist. The heat kind of died down a little bit, but it's still a beautiful sneaker. Let's jump right into the heat check. Okay, these are the Air Jordan 3 Justin Timberlake Beige joints, man. I love this sneaker. I love the message that comes along with this sneaker. Stress is cruel. It's a big mental health message. I love that. And you notice I got these on with work pants because I like to wear these joints to work, man. These sneakers are perfect. They pop just a little bit, but they're also a little casual, man. They're a little conservative, you know. They got the earth tone. They're dope. Let me know what you're rocking on feet this week. This is the heat check. All right, man, I got a special guest this week. Oh my God, it feels good to have a guest back on the show, man. The notorious Kia Marie. Oh my God, she's a lifestyle specialist. She's a sneaker influencer. She's one of the dopest in the game, and she's here with me today to talk all sneaker trends, to talk New York City, to talk fashion, to talk sustainability, all of it. Don't miss it. Here we go. Kia, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you doing this. I want to jump right into it. Look, you're super dope. Let me say this to you first before I get started. I'm sorry. I really appreciate like fly people that have their own style. I saw you into it. I've been following you for a while. I just think you're super duper dope. I think you're really dope for the culture. And I just wanted to say that to you before we get started.
Thank you.
No problem at all. So how did you get started? How did you become an influencer in this biz? How did you even get attracted to this biz?
Oh, wow. I kind of like fell into it. I graduated from college and didn't really know what I wanted to do with life. So this internet stuff kind of like sort of saved my life, so to speak, or really gave my life a purpose. I ended up breaking my ankle. It's a long story, but I'm
Tell your story.
I broke my ankle and I was on bed rest for like 2 months. And so I would just watch YouTube videos all day. This is like back in 2011. I would watch YouTube videos all day about random stuff. I didn't even know this world existed, but I was just like all into like the makeup tutorials and this is around the natural hair movement is going on. Everybody's going natural and I don't know what I'm doing with my hair or anything. So I'm like these ladies like just, share their journeys. Right. And so like after a while, I just had like a moment like, why can't I do it? Like, prior to breaking my ankle, I've always been really, really creative. I had like a fashion blog. I was doing some styling. And then just being from New York, it's just like fashion. This is the fashion capital. And it's just like everything, you're always trending. The world is always watching. So growing up in that environment, it was definitely gave way to like my style and just being authentic and just kind of like carving out your own lane. Because I wasn't always able to get all the sneakers growing up, but I just had to make it. And I think I always thank my mom. I was like, thank you for having us shop at the sale rack. Thank you for not getting me every pair of Jordans, because I really taught me that resourcefulness and developing my own style outside of what everybody else is wearing. This is your formative years. You want to dress like all your friends, but I'm thankful that I wasn't able to. So it really early on, I was able to develop my own style. But I'm jumping around a lot. Back to breaking my ankle. So I ended up starting my YouTube channel with like a broken ankle and just like recording different videos about fashion stuff. I was really into DIY. So I was just like showing girls how to cut up, shorts and t-shirts, like anything. My ankle ended up healing. I went back to work and all that kind of stuff. But my channel grew. People started watching and started inquiring about my hair and just my general fashion sense. And like I said, that was in 2011, 2012. This year will be 10 years since I started my channel. And that kind of like got me into this world. And so of course, when Instagram came, I got downloaded Instagram. And started doing that. But I've actually been like full-time content creation influencing for like 3 years now. So it's still kind of new to me, even though I've been doing it for 10 years. I consider myself an OG for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like this being a business and my livelihood, like doing this 100% it's only been 3 years. So I still feel like I'm still kind of new in that space. And I think that's what's kind of allowed me to have longevity and to kind of like keep the momentum going. Like each year I'm growing and growing. But yeah, that's kind of like a backstory of how I got started.
Yeah, well, you're doing your thing.
Around a lot. I definitely bumped around a lot. The story is definitely a little bit more, intense, whatever. But that's kind of like the gist of it.
I appreciate it. Look, you're doing, like I said, you're doing your thing, man. You actually jumped to something I wanted to talk about, which is you're a New Yorker, right? And when we think about New York, I mean, I'm in DC. I've had a lot of people that are within the DC region on the show, and we take a lot of pride in our style and our creativity. But you got to be. Hey, look, we appreciate that, but we gotta be honest. Like New York City is its own beast, right? Like how do you feel like the city, where you're from, has influenced your style?
Definitely when it comes to sneakers, because it's a few different things. Like I was an athlete, so wearing sneakers was a part of my day-to-day wear. I also wore uniforms, and so like you didn't have to wear uniform shoes. You could wear like any pair of sneakers or shoes you wanted. So this is the time to really like assert your individuality or show off. Like I got the latest J's. So I got used to wearing sneakers, or even creating that like juxtaposition between like something that's like preppy or like girly, and then having a pair of sneakers on. So all these things, like early childhood, anytime somebody asks me like how they can discover their personal style, even their sneaker styles, it's like, well, what's unique to you? Like think about your childhood and your past experiences, and draw from that, like get inspiration from that, because that's the most authentic. With so many people trying to follow trends, like brands are trying to get you to spend money, it's really important to tap into what makes you and why you like the certain things that you like. Even with sneaker culture, I'm just like, I find myself even sometimes getting caught up in the hype of I just want these because of these, but then I have to get back to my core values. Like what are my ideals when it comes to style? What are my ideals when it comes to sneakers? Like things that I really, really, hold true to my heart. Like what were the sneakers that came out when I was a kid that I wasn't able to get? Can I get them now? That's why I'm gonna get them. Or maybe like I remember the Carmine 6s when those came out. So it's just like, I had those when I remember having those as a kid. I want them as an adult. Or just seeing people around your neighborhood wearing certain sneakers, or certain like staples, that you wanted. But then also like, what is your sneaker style? Like my style, I'm very much classic, but I love innovation. I love sustainability. So for instance, like the Yeezy 450s, they were made with only like 2 fabrics, and I was like, that's dope. And then I like the design of it, the construction of it. So just getting back into like why you like what you like, and just always back to something personal, because you'll get caught up in a hype. You could get caught up in buying sneakers that you don't really like or never end up wearing. And like I mentioned, I'm all about sustainability. And so for me, it's not having a bunch of sneakers in my collection is cool, but it's just like, which ones now can I actually wear, and wearability, and all those things as well, because I don't want to have a bunch of things and not wear it. But a lot of this stuff is a collector's item. Like I've had some of these sneakers since 2004, from when I had like my first job and I was able to get that. Like those are things that's going to stay with me. And all the sneakers I've collected over in college. I went to 2 schools. I lived so many different places, and the fact that I still have them today is great. Like I didn't care about anything else. I was like, I need my sneakers. And I went through plenty of phases where I wasn't wearing any sneakers, especially like my last couple years of college. And when I first got out, like I was really like trying to like, you feel like you have to be an adult. Like there was this stigma attached to wearing sneakers back then, it's not professional, or it's not grown up enough. So I really, really experimented with my style like a couple years, and I didn't really wear any sneakers. And then I also couldn't afford sneakers. Like I graduated from college, I was broke. In college, I was broke, but I was getting like little disbursement checks, and I would go below a bag on nothing but sneakers. I had a credit card, 18. I had like 2 credit cards. It's like $1,000. I was like, yeah, right. What did they do? And that was a history. So,
but that's the funny thing about it. You like it's this loving sneakers is, and I'm gonna get to the, the trend part of it next, but like loving sneakers is not just about, oh, that's what's popular right now, let me do that, right? It fits your, like when you talked about wearing that school uniform, I almost jumped out my seat because the first pair of sneakers I ever copped, I'm looking at them right now, is the Diamond
Wow.
Turf DeAndres I got, and I picked them up for the exact reason you said. I had them when I was young, beat them all up, I wore them, but I felt so fly in my little blue and gray uniform with my little red, white, and black sneakers on, right? Red, black, gold, and gold sneakers on, excuse me.
Right.
So I saw these joints just sitting in a shop in Georgetown, like probably like 6-7 years ago. And I said, oh my God, it's the Diamond Turf. And he got the actual Dion's, Dion's not with Nike anymore. So he took all this stuff, I said, I don't know where they got these from. I don't even know if they real. I don't even care. I'm picking them up. And they've been sitting in I'm looking at them right now. So that made me super excited. I want to talk about that personal style piece though, because, I feel like the trend, and you tell me what you feel about this. I feel like the trend now, if you want to say trend, is being your authentic self. Like people are picking up authentic and thrifting and finding all sorts of cool stuff that fits them. You say you're athlete, you got one of the greatest athletes in the world on your shirt right now. You know what I mean? There we go. You know what I'm saying? So just talk to me about like, some of the trends that you're noticing within not just the sneaker culture, but within fashion culture and as a whole.
I think after 2020, we're generally a lot more conscious in general. So we've definitely seen an emergence of more like sustainability. I feel like in some instances it's a bit of a buzzword because there's no really regulation. There's a few companies and industries that like have like standards that you have to meet to be able to get like a check for them. But I think across the board, like you can have like one recycled string and now all of a sudden you might be considered sustainable. But I always talk about like, what does sustainability mean to you as, as an audience? For me, I've never really looked at sustainability as a thing, but I've always looked like the Black community, we've always been super resourceful where we take margarine containers and use that for leftovers, the plastic bag fiascos, that has like 3-4 responsibilities. So it's always been our community. And it wasn't until I started thrifting, outside, like there was a part where I had to thrift because that's only really all I could afford. And it also gave me the opportunity to experiment with my style often without breaking the bank. So when I first started, it was definitely fashion first. But as I, got older, more mature, hopefully I'm making a little bit more money and I don't necessarily need to thrift. It became more to me, like this is better for the environment. This is why I thrift. I love the thrill of the hunt. I love finding a super unique piece that probably nobody else has. It taught me a lot about fashion. Thrifting taught me a lot about like fabrics and quality of things. So it's like a whole thing for me. I'm actually excited to see more people get into sustainability and just, being more open to, secondhand fashion. I mean, it's not just thrifting is not just sustainability. Sustainability encompasses so many other things. And so now that, I'm where I'm at, I hope to just kind of get more people to see outside of thrift stores as sustainability. Like there's more to sustainability than just thrifting, because oftentimes this kind of displaces people who actually need thrifting. Like, see people do these huge hauls, and I'm guilty of it. I used to do it all the time, buy just hundreds of stuff. Probably won't end up wearing it. But now I'm looking at my consumption across the board. Like even if it is thrifting, like who am I hurting? Like fashion is one of those industries that somebody is the victim. And so you have to look like it might not be the garment workers because maybe everything is ethical, but it might be the person that, needs to shop at the thrift store and you're there buying 20 of the same t-shirt, to cut or to barely wear. But I'm happy to see more brands get into sustainability. From a design and fabric standpoint, I would love to see them do more on the ethical side as far as like, what the working conditions for the factory workers and things of that is like, because that is human rights at the end of the day. But that is definitely a trend I'm seeing. I'm also seeing, I think sneakers in general has become a trend. Last year, a lot of our time in the house, comfy chic became a thing. It became my thing. So I think more people are more into the comfy wear. The sneakers got into sneakers, and then people like me who've ushered in showing that sneakers are versatile. Sneakers don't have to be masculine. You can be feminine. Wear sneakers. You can dress sneakers up, sneakers down. So yeah, I've definitely noticed sneakers are definitely the trend for sure. What else? Collaborations. I've been loving the collaborations recently. They've been amazing. ALD and New Balance killing it. I love the Reebok and Margiela one because sneakers, there are sneakers that are just like sneakers, streetwear sneakers, and then there are fashion people that are getting into sneakers. So it's important to have like that balance. And I think collaborations between like big brands or like design houses and more so streetwear, I think that bridges that gap between function and, you know, and style and fashion. What other trends? Well, Yeezy is always in trend, right?
Yeah. You mentioned New Balance just really quickly. You mentioned New Balance. You know, again, I'm a DC guy. New Balance is like a thing out here. Like, I love the resurgence of New Balance, and something you mentioned, like, it's streetwear, but you know, I'm starting to notice that, you know, more earth tones and colors and things like that, and that fits New Balance, right? It's not so much athletic wear. It's more like, how could I find a sneaker that I could wear casually, or just, you know, even I could dress up, right? And I think that's really cool. And I think that's why you're starting to see like New Balance and brands like that start to make a come up, you know?
Yeah, and people are obsessed with nostalgia right now. We're seeing, you know, 90s and Y2K fashion, and even with the sneakers, we're seeing like the 1980s, like those designs and stuff really come back in. So I think there is a great lane for people who can merge, like take a classic design and just reimagine it in a more modern and innovative way.
Absolutely. Key, I can talk to you all day.
Listen, I can do this.
Yo, I gotta have you back on the show. Please tell me you do the show again.
I'll do it again.
Let's do this again, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I can't big you up enough, and you're super dope. And thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you so much, Adam.
No problem. Peace. Shout out to the notorious Kia for joining me. Hope to have her back on, man. You see how dope she is, man. Thank you for joining me this week. Big shout out to you for tuning in. You guys are special. I really appreciate you. Listen, last week was my highest rated show, so thank you so much for that, guys. You all are wonderful, man. You're a dope family, and I love doing this show for you guys because you all are inspiration to me. It's all about the culture. It's all about the art of this. So let's keep this thing going. All right, follow me, MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam. Follow me on TikTok, the Butler Did It podcast. All my sneaker content is there, as well as right here on the OMFnetwork. All right, get with me, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, continue to be great. Mind your mental health. Stay fresh. I'm up out of here.